The Whispering Valley and the Tiny Fox. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a peaceful place called Whispering Valley. It was a cozy nook surrounded by rolling hills covered in velvet grass, dotted with wildflowers that shimmered like little stars in the daylight. At night, the valley glowed softly under a sky full of twinkling stars, and a gentle river ran through it, singing a quiet lullaby as it flowed. In this valley lived a tiny fox named Pippa. Pippa was smaller than all the other foxes, with fluffy orange fur that looked like a sunset and big, curious green eyes. She loved the daytime, chasing butterflies and rolling down hills, but when the sun set, Pippa grew nervous. The shadows felt too big, the wind sounded too loud, and the dark made her shiver. One evening, as the sky turned a soft purple and the first stars peeked out, Pippa decided she wanted to be brave. She took a deep breath, fluffed up her tail, and stepped out of her little den under a willow tree. "I want to know why the valley feels so calm at night," she said to herself, her voice trembling just a little. With tiny, careful steps, Pippa wandered along the riverbank. The water sparkled under the moonlight, and the sound of its ripples made her feel a bit less scared. Soon, she heard a soft rustling above her. She looked up and saw a plump, gray dormouse named Clover swinging gently on a vine hanging from a tall maple tree. Clover had round ears, a twitchy nose, and a scarf made of woven dandelion fluff around her neck. "Hello, little fox," Clover called in a voice as warm as a hug. "What brings you out under the stars?" I want to know why the valley is so quiet at night," Pippa said, her paws fidgeting. "It feels different, and I'm not sure why." Clover smiled, her eyes twinkling. "Oh, that's a lovely question. Come with me, Pippa. I'll show you the valley's nighttime magic." Clover slid down the vine and landed with a soft plop beside Pippa. Together, they began their journey through Whispering Valley, the stars lighting their way. First, they reached a field of sleepy lavender bushes. The air smelled sweet and soothing, and tiny glowworms crawled among the purple flowers, their lights flickering like candles. Pippa sat down, her tail curling around her, and watched the glowworms weave little trails of light. "What are they doing?" she asked. "They're the valley's night lights," Clover explained. "They shine to help everyone feel safe and cozy. Watch how they dance, it's their way of saying goodnight." Pippa giggled as a glowworm crawled onto her paw, its light warm and friendly. "They're like tiny hugs," she said, feeling her nervousness melt a little. "There's more to see," Clover said, leading her onward. Next, they came to a circle of smooth pebbles by the river. Sitting there was a plump frog named Thistle, his skin a shiny green with golden speckles. Thistle was humming a low, gentle tune, his voice blending with the river's song. He opened one sleepy eye and smiled at Pippa. "Evening, little one," Thistle croaked. "Care to sit and listen?" Pippa nestled beside him on a soft pebble, and Clover joined her. Thistle's hum grew softer, weaving with the water's ripples and the breeze rustling the grass. Pippa closed her eyes and felt the sounds wrap around her like a blanket. "What's this music?" She whispered, ... "It's the valley's lullaby," Thistle said. "The river, the wind, and me, we all sing together to help the valley sleep. It's a song that says everything's okay." Pippa swayed to the tune, her ears relaxing. It makes me feel sleepy, she said with a yawn. Good, Clover chuckled. But we've got one more stop. They walked to the edge of the valley, where a giant oak tree stood alone, its branches spreading wide like open arms. Hanging from one branch was a nest made of twigs and feathers, and inside sat a little bluebird named Sky. Sky's feathers were the color of a twilight sky, and her eyes were soft and kind. "Welcome, Pippa," Sky chirped. "Come closer." Pippa climbed onto a low branch with Clover's help, and Sky pointed her wing at the sky. "Look up," she said. Pippa gazed at the stars, brighter than ever. They twinkled in patterns, some big, some small, and a few streaked across the sky like falling sparkles. Sky flapped her wings gently, and a breeze carried the faintest hum from the stars themselves. "What's that sound?" Pippa asked, her eyes wide. "It's the star singers," Sky said. "They shine and hum to remind the valley that tomorrow will be just as beautiful as today. They're the last part of the nighttime magic." Pippa lay back on the branch, staring at the stars. The glowworm's lights, Thistle's lullaby, and the star singer's hum all mixed together in her heart. She felt warm, safe, and not afraid of the dark anymore. "Clover," she said sleepily, "does the valley ever stop being magical?" "Never," Clover replied, patting her head. "As long as you're here to listen, the magic keeps growing. You're part of it now, Pippa." Pippa smiled, her eyes fluttering shut. Clover guided her back to her den under the willow tree, with Thistle and Sky waving goodbye. She curled up in her bed of leaves and moss, the valley's lullaby still humming in her ears. The glowworm's light danced in her dreams, the river sang her to sleep, and the stars promised her a new day. From then on, Pippa loved the night as much as the day. She'd peek out of her den, watch the stars, and whisper a thank you to Clover, Thistle, and Sky. The whispering valley held her close, its gentle magic lulling her into the sweetest dreams every night. After Pippa, the tiny fox, learned the nighttime magic of Whispering Valley, she began to greet each evening with a wagging tail and bright green eyes. Her fluffy orange fur glowed softly in the moonlight, and the valley's gentle lullaby became her favorite sound. She loved knowing that Clover the dormouse, Thistle the frog, and Sky the bluebird were her friends, watching over the valley with her. One cool, misty night, when the air smelled of damp leaves and the stars hid behind a veil of clouds, Pippa hopped out of her den under the willow tree. She found Clover waiting for her, swinging on her vine with her dandelion fluff scarf fluttering in the breeze. "Good evening, Pippa," Clover said, her voice as cozy as a warm blanket. "You've heard the valley's lullaby, but tonight I'll show you its treasures. Want to come along?" Pippa's ears perked up. "Treasures? Oh, yes, Clover. I'd love to see them." "Then let's go," Clover said, sliding down the vine and landing beside Pippa with a little bounce. They set off together, the mist swirling around their feet like a dreamy dance. Their first stop was a patch of tall reeds by the river, where dozens of tiny silver shells lay scattered on the bank. The shells shimmered faintly, as if holding bits of moonlight inside them. Pippa nudged one with her nose, and it let out a soft tinkling sound like a bell made of glass. "What are these?" she asked, her eyes wide. "They're the river's chimes," Clover said. "The water leaves them here every night. Listen to them, they carry the valley's happy thoughts." Pippa pressed her ear to a shell and heard a faint giggle, then a whisper of splashing water, like the river playing with the reeds. She smiled. "They sound so cheerful," she said, picking up a shell and tucking it behind her ear. The tinkling made her feel light and bubbly inside. "There's more to find," Clover said, leading her deeper into the valley. Next, they reached a hollow log covered in soft golden moss. Curled up inside was a sleepy hedgehog named Bramble, his spines tipped with little dewdrops that sparkled like jewels. Bramble yawned, stretched, and blinked at Pippa with tiny black eyes. "Hello, little fox," Bramble mumbled. "Want to see my treasure?" Pippa nodded eagerly. Bramble shuffled over and pulled out a small pile of smooth, round stones. Each one glowed with a faint, warm light pink, blue, and yellow like captured sunsets. "These are dusk stones," Bramble said. "The valley hides them for me at the end of each day. They keep the evening's peace safe." Pippa touched a pink stone with her paw, and it felt warm and smooth, like a hug from the sun. She lay down beside Bramble, resting her head on the mossy log, and let the stone's glow wash over her. "They make me feel so calm," she said, her voice soft. "Good," Clover said with a grin. "But we've got one last treasure to uncover." They wandered to a quiet corner of the valley where a cluster of tall ferns grew around a small pond. Floating on the water were lily pads, and atop one sat a delicate dragonfly named Flicker. Her wings shimmered with rainbow colors, and her long tail glowed like a tiny lantern. "Welcome, Pippa," Flicker buzzed, her voice light and airy. "Look into the pond." Pippa peeked over the edge and saw her reflection in the still water, framed by the stars peeking through the clouds. Flicker skimmed the surface with her wings, and the water rippled, showing little pictures: Pippa chasing butterflies, rolling down hills, and curling up in her den. The images sparkled like a moving painting. "What's happening?" Pippa asked, her tail swishing with delight. "This is the memory pond," Flicker said. "It holds the valley's treasures, your happy moments. Every night, it keeps them safe so you can dream about them." Pippa watched the ripples, feeling a warm glow in her chest. The river's chimes, Bramble's dust stones, and the memory pond all came together like pieces of a big, gentle puzzle. The valley wasn't just a place, it was a keeper of joy, and she was part of it. "Clover," Pippa said, her eyes growing heavy, "does the valley ever run out of treasures?" "No, Pippa," Clover replied, patting her fluffy head. "Every day you play and smile, you add more. The valley loves you for it." Pippa yawned, a big, happy yawn, and Clover led her back to her den. Bramble waved a sleepy paw, and Flicker buzzed a soft good night. Pippa snuggled into her bed of leaves and moss, the tinkling of the river's chime still in her ear, the dusk stone's warmth in her heart, and the memory pond's pictures in her mind. The valley's lullaby soft and sweet carried her off to sleep. That night, Pippa dreamed of silver shells, glowing stones, and a pond that showed her laughing under the stars. From then on, she'd step out each evening, look at the misty hills, and whisper a thank you to Clover, Bramble, and flicker. The Whispering Valley cradled her gently, its treasures lighting her dreams every night. Pippa the tiny fox had grown to adore the Whispering Valley's nighttime wonders. Her orange fur fluffed up with pride each evening, and her green eyes sparkled with excitement instead of fear. She'd learned the valley's lullaby and found its treasures, thanks to her friends Clover the dormouse, Thistle the frog, Sky the bluebird, Bramble the hedgehog, and Flicker the dragonfly. Every night felt like a warm hug from the valley itself. One silvery night, when the moon hung low and cast a gentle glow over the hills, Pippa scampered out of her den under the willow tree. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the scent of wild mint. Clover was waiting, perched on a low branch, her dandelion fluff scarf swaying softly. "Good evening, Pippa," Clover said, her voice as tender as a breeze. "You've heard the valley's song and seen its treasures. Tonight, I'll show you its keepers. Ready for another adventure?" Pippa's tail wagged like a little flag. "Keepers?" "Oh yes, Clover, let's go." Clover hopped down and they set off, the moonlight painting their path in silver. Their first stop was a shady nook beneath a sprawling hazel tree. There, a slow-moving tortoise named Sage rested on a bed of fallen leaves. Sage's shell was etched with swirls that glowed faintly like a map of the stars. He lifted his wrinkly head and blinked at Pippa with wise, ancient eyes. "Greetings, little fox," Sage rumbled, his voice deep and slow. "Sit with me a moment." Pippa curled up beside him, her fur brushing the soft leaves. Sage tapped his shell with a claw, and the swirls lit up brighter, pulsing gently. Pippa felt a steady rhythm, like the valley breathing. "What's that?" she asked, her ears twitching. "I'm the keeper of time," Sage said. "My shell holds the valley's heartbeat. It beats slow and steady, so everything here can rest without worry." Pippa pressed her paw to the shell, feeling the calm pulse. It matched the river's flow and the wind's sigh, making her feel safe and still. "It's so peaceful," she said, her voice a whisper. "There's more to meet," Clover said, nudging her gently onward. Next, they reached a cluster of tall grasses near the river, where a fluffy white hare named Luna hopped out to greet them. Luna's fur shimmered like moonlight, and her long ears were tipped with silver. She carried a tiny basket woven from reeds filled with shimmering seeds. "Hello, Pippa," Luna said, her voice bright and soft. "Want to see my work?" Pippa nodded, and Luna sprinkled a few seeds onto the ground. Where they landed, tiny flowers sprouted instantly, glowing with a pale, pearly light, the air filled with a sweet, sleepy scent. "I'm the keeper of blooms," Luna explained. "These night blossoms open only under the moon. They spread calm and quiet through the valley." Pippa sniffed a flower, and a wave of relaxation washed over her. She lay down in the grass, watching the blossoms sway. "They smell like dreams," she said, her eyes half closed. Clover smiled. "One more keeper to meet," she said, leading Pippa on. They arrived at a rocky ledge overlooking the valley, where a small bat named Echo hung upside down from a jutting stone. Echo's wings were velvety brown, and his big ears twitched as he grinned at Pippa, showing tiny, friendly teeth. "Hi there, fox cub," Echo squeaked. "Listen to this." He flapped his wings, and a high, soft sound bounced off the hills, rippling through the valley. It wasn't loud or scary, it was gentle, like a secret whispered between friends. Pippa tilted her head, enchanted. "What's that sound?" she asked. "I'm the keeper of echoes," Echo said. "I send the valley's goodnight wishes everywhere, so no corner feels forgotten. It's my way of tucking everyone in." Pippa closed her eyes, letting Echo's sound mix with Sage's heartbeat and Luna's blooming scent. It felt like the valley was alive, caring for every leaf, stone, and creature, including her. "Clover," Pippa said, her voice sleepy, "do the keepers ever rest?" "They do," Clover replied, her eyes twinkling. "But they take turns, so the valley's magic never stops. And you, Pippa, help them just by being here, happy and brave." Pippa's heart swelled with warmth. Clover led her back to her den, with Sage's slow nod, Luna's wave, and Echo's cheerful squeak following her. She snuggled into her leafy bed, the valley's heartbeat thumping softly in her ears, the night blossom scent drifting around her, and echoes singing her to sleep. That night, Pippa dreamed of glowing shells, starry flowers, and a valley that whispered her name. From then on, she'd peek out at the moon each evening, whisper a thank you to Clover, Sage, Luna, and Echo, and drift off, knowing the Whispering Valley's keepers held her close in their gentle care.